Hi everyone. I quickly wanted to show you how to use the grade calculator that I posted on Beachboard. So Beachboard has never been good at giving you the exact final grade calculation. It's usually within like 1 or 2%, but if you're like above 1 or 2%, that's not always good. So like if it's an overestimation. So this kind of outlines all of the assignments that we have for this semester, the point values that they are worth, and then the weighted values that they are worth since we use a weighted grading system in this class. Now, two of the things that you'll notice on the spreadsheet is that some of the kind of out of point values don't have a total in them yet. So typically this is for exams and activities because I update these on a semester to semester basis, so I don't have those point values yet until I finalize questions. So as we complete exam 3 or as we do exam 4, you'll be able to input the total point value that both of the exams are out of based on what you see in the grade book on Beachboard. So these can be updated as you go. And then anything else in these white cells, those are the total points you've received out of the total points for that assignment. All of these are converted into weighted grades. So any of the white cells in the spreadsheet, you can feel free to edit, at least in this received column. Any of the colored cells, you'll see up here I have formulas in them, so they will auto-calculate the weighted grade for you. So please don't mess with those. Okay. The other thing in here is that we have a current grade calculation as well as a hypothetical grade calculation. So I kind of copied this template and then inserted a bunch of point values that I randomly chose. So this is more or less what you would do if you were using the calculator. You'd go into the Beachboard gradebook, you'd input any of the assignments that we've completed to date. If you have a missing assignment, that would go in as a 0, and all of this column is formatted so that zeros turn red. That way missing assignments are a little bit more visible to you. So any of these blank ones, these may or may not have been completed yet, but they're definitely not graded yet. So all of these blank assignments correspond with red boxes in the hypothetical grade calculator. Okay, now this value down here is going to add up all of the grade categories, and you'll see that's these orange boxes here. Okay, so each of these grade categories has a set weight in the class. These cells in the received columns will just sum up the total number of points you have earned towards that particular grade category. Now, you'll see this kind of error message, and that's because we don't have point values in these empty boxes. So for the example or simplicity's sake, I'm just going to put these point values as 10. And then you'll be able to see 46.98 points have been achieved in the class to date for this hypothetical student. Now, since we haven't completed all of the assignments in the class yet, we would also want to, if you want like your current grade, you would need to do equals and then type the word sum with a parentheses. And then going down the list, you're going to select the weighted grade for each of the assignments that has been graded so far. Okay, so pretty much anything you have point values next to, that's what you will stick into the calculator. Okay, and you can see as I'm typing up here, I just click on a cell and then put a comma after it once I have decided to include it in my calculation. I think actually that's it for right now. So once I press enter, it shows me we've attempted 60 points out of the final 100. This person has earned 46 points, or 46.98 points towards their final grade. So to calculate the current grade, we can take this cell value and divide it by the total number that has been attempted to date. And so this person has a 78.3% in the class. Okay, that's to calculate your current grade. Let's say you're trying to project what you need to do for the rest of this semester. That's where the hypothetical grade calculator comes in. So let's say based on this person's previous exam grades, it would be reasonable to probably say they could achieve about an 80% on the last two exams. Okay, so I like to keep these as round numbers just because it makes the math a little bit easier. Once you get closer to the end of the semester, you can start to mess with these percentages a little bit more. But the way that I inserted these is I put an equal sign. I then put the percentage that you're trying to earn. So this value will be written as a number between 0 and 1. So if I wanted an 80% on an assignment, I would put a 0.8 of multiply by the total points that particular assignment is out of. So we can go through all of this and say, well, let's just say we're shooting for an 80% on all of these assignments. Minimum, right? And then we can see if that would be enough to get the grade we want in the class. Okay. And all of these are adjustable. Obviously, if you're changing them now, you can change them later. And don't forget to update them as your grades have been updated. Let's say for the post-semester survey, this person decides to take advantage of all of the extra credit points in the class. Okay, and so if this person got at least an 80% on all of the remaining assignments in the semester, that would give them the minimum to get a B in the class. Because remember, in our class, anything that is a 0.5 or higher on a cusp grade gets rounded up. So since this person is at a 79.5, they would get rounded to an 80%, which is considered a B. Right? So 80% is their minimum performance that they need on all of the rest of the assignments in the class in order to achieve the B. Now let's say if they were lowballing, they were like, I just want to pass with a C, then you can change these percentage values. Instead of an 80, maybe you only need a 60%. Right? And so the thing that I like about the grade calculator, using the hypothetical grade calculator, is that you can kind of project, these are the rest of the assignments I have for this semester. Realistically, this is what I think I can get on all of these assignments. If you accidentally miss an assignment, you can shift your percentages so that you know how your expectations of yourself are changing. Also, if you are just interested in seeing like what's the minimum possible, maybe you have to devote more time to other classes one week than another, right? So if that happens and you perform worse one week than what you normally do, you can see how that ends up affecting your projected end result. Okay, so that's kind of a nice thing I like about using this, is that sometimes it decreases the pressure on students so that they're not freaking out. Typically, after I've graded pretty much almost all of the activities all of the activities should be graded by the third exam. Usually by the end, or actually by the last activity, this is a different class, never mind. By the last activity and quiz, the only thing left you have in the class is the exam 4, which is usually done during finals week. So once I get all of your activities graded, typically what I'll do is I'll send out an email to every student in the class, and then I'll let you know this is what you need on this last exam in order to get this grade in the class. Okay, and I usually pick something that's reasonable based on your grade history in the course. And then I'll send that to you. Sometimes it helps people out because some people, like, they can literally fail the final and still pass with an A, right? So it kind of just helps, like, refocus where your attention should be as we get closer and closer to the end of the semester when things start to get a little bit crazy. The other thing I have in this grade calculator is an addition of missing assignments, so you can see which assignments might be contributing to a poor grade, or if you're dropped like 10% than where you think you should be. That kind of helps to explain. Usually it's missing assignments. So I had mentioned before, missing assignments will show up in red if they're inputted as a 0. And so what this cell does is it adds up all of the cells that have a 0 point value. So this hypothetical student is missing 3 assignments in the class. There are 26 total assignments in the class, and this calculator, or this cell, will auto-calculate the percentage of completed assignments to that total 26 assignments. For those of you who usually end up at the last exam and you have worse than a C, hopefully that's not the case, right? But if you have worse than a C and you have several missing assignments, usually I will reach out to said student and I will ask them if they want to file for an incomplete. In order to do an incomplete, usually there has to be some reason that the work wasn't completed, and you have to have completed at least 60% of the assignments, right? Or at least attempted them in order to be eligible for the incomplete. So that's why I include this. So if anybody is kind of on the lower side of the grade scale and you're concerned that missing assignments have attributed to your grade or your poor grade, then you can see how, well, out of the final grade count, considering that I've done all of my assignments, what's the percentage that I've completed in the class so far? Okay, but this is kind of like, you look at this at the very end of the semester when all of your grades have been input into the calculator. Otherwise, it's not an accurate number. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have any problems using it, these are instructions for the current grade calculation. These are instructions for the hypothetical grade calculation. I know Excel tends to scare some people, so if you're just like, I don't know how to do this, and you want to meet with me over Zoom, I can make sure you're inputting everything correctly or answer questions in emails. All right? Hopefully this is helpful, and let me know if you have questions.